Yeah. Who is number one? Who is the number one loser? Okay, yeah. We got some folks there. Okay. Yeah, Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter is the number one loser, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, Jimmy Carter is. Mm-hmm. You know it. And they're from the Democrat Party. Yeah, you know it. Oh yeah. Shout out to the mind of Jamal. Jamal says Jimmy Carter. You know it, brother. So is Greg Roan. Greg Roan put Carter. You know it. You know it. Democrats are losers for sure. Oh yeah. For the people on Facebook, I need your help. Don't be a stranger. Hit that like button. Make sure you share. Oh, yeah. Please, oh, please hit that like button. Make sure you do share. For people on YouTube as well, same with the folks on Rumble. All right. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get rocking. Yeah, let's get rocking. Let's get ready to Let's get ready to flame. I want to go ahead and start off in Florida. Florida, let me tell you something, is heating up. And I'm not talking about the presidential race. I'm talking about what Florida just signed into law. Oh, yeah. Florida signed a new law stating, well, basically they're saying, teaching that slaves benefited from slavery. Oh, yeah, that's going to be taught in Florida. And there's a lot of people who are mad about this. A lot. Now, just think about it before I play this video clip here. Have slaves benefited from slavery? Absolutely. You got to be dumb, ridiculous if you don't know. Let me go ahead and run this when it come back. I want to speak about it. Why are folks so mad about this? I can tell you the African ones did. If you look at how the country of Africa is, you see the children walking over there with flies in their eyes, and you're worried about the white man over here. There's something wrong with you. Let me go ahead and run this. When it comes back, we shall discuss this. New law in Florida teaching that slaves have benefited from slavery. Here we go. Make sure you do share. Here we go.
Welcome and thanks for joining us and sticking around for our second half hour of The Factor. Imagine your ancestors surviving nearly 250 years of slavery. Most of you don't have to imagine. Going through horrors that have been documented and the ones that weren't. For their experience to be taught as something as that was good in history. Sounds like something that's totally crazy, right? And as crazy as it sounds, this scenario is real. Despite backlash, the Florida Board of Education has approved new lessons on slavery in school. Get this. It would claim slavery brought a personal benefit to black people. Not only is this ridiculous, it's a slap in the face for those ancestors who suffered so much damn horrific terrorization and just horrible experiences back then. I asked State Representative Jolanda Jones and Ron Reynolds to weigh in on this.
Guys, what the is going on there?
Isaiah, this is one of those times where you should never joke about stuff like this, but I hope they were saying, look, we were just trying to prank you, but this is some straight up BS. This is one of the most idiotic, one of the most insulting, infuriating things that I've ever seen come out of a body. And I've seen some crazy stuff. But to say that there was some benefits to slavery for slaves, the only benefit was to the white slave owners whose backs my ancestors built wealth, and there's still wealth inequality today because of it. But there was no benefit to slaves other than being killed, other than being used as property and chattel, other than being beaten to death, picking cotton, building buildings, doing what the master wanted. There was nothing. It was barbaric. It was heinous. They whipped them. They beat them. They worked them to death. So this is outrageous that they want to teach this to kids. It's bad enough that they want to talk about this woke agenda, which is a bunch of right-wing nonsense, but now they've gone way too far. And I hope that the people of Florida will wake up and speak out against this nonsense. That everybody should be pissed off right now in the state of Florida and all over the country. They should be outraged.
Representative Jones, are they trying to
outraged.
rewrite history with this? I mean, it's just mind-blowing telling people there are benefits to slavery, and we want the kids to decide what was good and bad.
Are they trying to rewrite history? They've absolutely rewritten history, one. Well, they don't want for them to feel guilt. They don't want for them to feel responsibility for what other people in their race did. Well, we're talking about separating children from their families. They did that in slavery. They literally broke up families. They lynched us. They had spectators.
What about the black slave owners?
People came around like the Coliseum to watch them pull us from limb to limb. They were barbaric. They were incredibly cruel. They would put honey on us as they hung us, and they would let bees come. People took pictures of it. They cut off men's penises and put them in jars so that they can keep them as souvenirs.
Man, they is trying, aren't they?
But I think the word they used.
Bow. And let me stop it right here. Let me stop it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me stop it right here. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you do share. These black folks are on one, aren't they? Oh, yeah. These black folks are on one, let me tell you. They're absolutely mad about this slavery. I can't believe you would say slaves benefited from slavery. I can't believe you would say that, right? These folks are appalled that you would even think that slaves benefited from slavery. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest here, right? Let's be a little honest. Slaves did benefit from slavery. They certainly did. Oh, yeah. Let's be honest about it. They certainly did. Not all slaves were beaten harshly. Right? Not all slaves were mistreated. I know that hurts a lot of black folks out there to hear that. Right? The black folks out there that romanticize about slavery. Right? You sit back, drinking on a malt liquor, smoking on a fat blunt, right? And you think about how your ancestors used to get whooped, right? It just makes you all giddy inside, right? I know that's why you keep thinking like that. If you look at the real history of slavery, you'll find out that a lot of slave owners were very good to the slaves. As a matter of fact, a lot of slave owners, white ones, thought about their black slaves as part of the family. Oh, yeah. Part of the family. There are slave owners out there who taught their slaves how to read. I know you Negroes are mad when you hear that, right? I know you're mad. Taught their slave owners how to read. I mean, the slave owners taught the slaves how to read, some of them. taught them very well, treated them very nicely. And while these black folks are sitting here running their mouth about how bad slavery is, how come you didn't speak about the black slave owners? Oh yeah, one of the biggest slave plantations in this nation was owned by the Williams family. Black folks, they owned the slaves. I wonder how they treated the other blacks. Since you're caught up on the white slave owners, how was the black slave owners? I bet you they did the same thing. If it wasn't for slavery, a lot of these Negroes who are complaining now would be complaining about something else in Africa. Probably complaining about some diseases, malaria, not having enough food, can't find a baby mama. I don't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. I really don't. The slaves benefited from slavery. So to hear these black folks not even look at the other side should let you know what their agenda is. Their agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is to promote how bad this country is, and also to hold up white people as the devils of all time. Let me tell you. That's how bad some of these black folks are. Once more again, black folks, the black slaves, a lot of them, ladies and gentlemen, benefited from slavery. And if you ask a lot of black folks today, hey, would you like to be in Africa, or would you want to be in the U.S. even though your ancestors had to go through slavery? Most of them will say, well, I want my black ancestry to go through slavery because I like it here. Most of you black folks have never been to Africa. Let me tell you something. In Africa, they don't like you Negroes. They don't. And it's not because you're black. It's because of your behavior. Absolutely. So I'm just pointing it out there. I'm pointing out there that the agenda to push it is evil. Every race on this earth has gone through slavery. Black folks aren't, the special ones. They're not. Let's go ahead and move forward. Make sure you guys do me a favor. Hit that like button. Make sure you do share. We got a lot more to discuss and a lot more blaming to do. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to somebody who just donated here. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Robert Marvin. Took our $5 challenge on PayPal. Shout out to you. Let me go ahead and give you the customaries here, sir. Bow. I hit the wrong button. Make sure you guys do me a favor. Hit that like button. Make sure you do share. I need your help. I certainly do. It is hot here in Minnesota. It's a cool 86 degrees. Oh, yeah. Hot like I'm sitting in a pan of fire right now. Hit that like button. Make sure you do share. Next one up. I want to go ahead and speak to you guys about a country music singer. Oh yeah, he is taking a lot of heat right now. I didn't know you could take this much heat in country singing, but apparently you can. He goes by the name of Jason Aldean. He put out a song that has a lot of people pissed off, mostly liberals who hate God. Oh yeah, liberals who hate God. Apparently, cancel culture try to come for him, and he's giving a big fu to cancel culture. At his last concert, he ends up blasting cancel culture. I want to go ahead and run this when it comes back. I want to speak about it. Right? Why don't you try this in a small town? Here we go.
Country star Jason Aldean is not backing down. The singer responding to the controversy surrounding his song Try That in a Small Town at his concert over the weekend in Cincinnati. It was his first performance since CMT pulled the music video for the song. Aldean slammed cancel culture and professed his love of country, and his fans seem to have his back.
I feel like everybody's entitled to their opinion. You can think something all you want to, it doesn't mean it's true, right? So what I am is a proud American. I love our country. I want to see it restored to what it once was before all this bull started happening to us.
Absolutely.
I love my country, I love my family, and I will do anything to protect that. I can tell you that right now.
You heard me? USA! USA! USA!
I saw country music fans rally like I've never seen before, and it was pretty bad to watch, I gotta say. Thank you guys so much.
Joey, what do you think about this?
Well, number one, I think Jason Aldean needs to quit explaining and just keep singing. That's what I mean. I'm not saying anything he said was wrong, but don't explain yourself. If you make half the country mad saying something, you can only make the other half mad by apologizing or explaining it. So, you know, I hope he feels supported, and it looks like he does, not just from his fans, but from other people in country music. And I say that because I worked for Zach Brown for 4 years. Now, that has had nothing to do with politics. I'm not ascribing politics to Zach at all. We worked together on veterans, and he was a mentor to me and taught me business and all kinds of things. Zach wouldn't have a career today as one of the biggest country music acts in the world if he hadn't bucked the system and stood up to Nashville and stood up to the country music takeover from L.A. All those Sony and all those big machine came from L.A. into Nashville, took it over, and created these puppy mill songwriting rooms where you get 6 writers together, you give them a list of words like campfire, blue jean, pickup truck. It used to be Bud Light. They've taken that out because they're smart. And you give them these words and you say, go write me a song with 3 different melodies, and we're going to give it to the next 21-year-old. We're going to make a star overnight and then abandon because we're going to make money off of them. Country music, pop country, is a puppy mill of music. For someone like Jason Aldean to write a song like this, he bucked that entire system. There's layers to why this isn't accepted. And for CMT, there's an executive there that's also over at Cumulus. Friends of mine at Cumulus have been told, hey, don't touch this. This is a concerted effort, and I'm glad he's pushing back against it.
Wow. And it's interesting because we saw last year an attempt to cancel Morgan Wallen by sort of that corporate structure that failed miserably because the fans rose up and essentially said, we are not buying into this attempt. And despite his music being blacked out, they still put him at #1 on the charts consistently. And what's interesting is, you know, critics are arguing that's ascribing a narrative to what the song means that isn't even what the song means at all. It is not deserving of any kind of cancel culture, let alone any type of pausing.
Or contempt. You know, that's what you're hearing, I think, from the left about this. And I just have to say, look, my whole family's from this tiny town of 4,000 people.
Let me go ahead and stop it right here. Make sure you guys do me a favor, hit that like button, make sure you do share. Jason Aldean. Boy, he really pissed off a lot of folks. He certainly has. And let me tell you, I like him. I certainly do. He wants to see the country go back to what it once was before all the BS started. To a lot of liberals, to a lot of black folks who are controlled by Satan, let me tell you, that sounds racist to them. I want the good folks of America to understand. To those folks out there, that sounds racist. To go back to what? This is how liberals think. To go back to what? To go back to slavery? To go back to when black people were beaten and killed? I want folks to understand. This is how the liberal left thinks. They link the small town to white America and white Americans being racist. I want you guys to understand that. To liberals, if you're a white person and you come from a small town, gosh darn it, you're racist. Right? So they're already, ladies and gentlemen, throwing a stereotype on white folks. Already. Now, let me tell you about the new controversy behind this song. Oh, yeah, there's some new controversy behind it. Let me go ahead and transition. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you do share. Help a brother out. This comes from the NewYorkPost.com. Jason Aldean facing new racism accusations. They're saying that the song is a pro-lynching song. Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. They're saying Jason Aldean's song is a pro-lynching song. And they're claiming that Jason Aldean shot the music video in a county where a black man was drugged in the street in 1927. And it says it right here. Jason Aldean shot this at the site where a white lynch mob strung Henry Choate up at the Maury County Courthouse in Columbia, Tennessee, after dragging his body through the streets in a car in 1927. So they're saying because he shot the music video at that location, that, my goodness gracious, he is a white supremacist. Right? These Negroes, these white folks who are sent by Satan, they're trying to connect the dots to nothing. And they're saying that he's a white supremacist. And anybody who likes the song, anybody who plays the song, is a racist too. Don't you hate it here, ladies and gentlemen? A lot of people hate it here. I understand why. That's nuts. I doubt Jason Aldean even knew that any of this nonsense is going on. That somehow a white lynch mob, lynched a black person, drug them through the streets in that county. I bet he didn't know that. This is nothing but propaganda and hate put out by the liberal left that does not want to see people get together. They want to see division and destruction. That's the only reason why they go to these great lengths to, pull out stuff from history to try to shut down a song that is very good. Just a song on its face, ladies and gentlemen, is very good. It doesn't promote any of the stuff that these idiots out here are trying to portray. It doesn't at all. Does not at all. They want to get rid of Jason Aldean's song, but yet they'll keep, Cardi B's song where she's talking about her vagina, right? They'll keep plenty of these rap Negro songs on there where all they do is talk about guns, shooting and killing each other, calling white people crackers, and spitting racism. But yet, this man puts out a song that is about bringing people together. It's about reminiscing when, most folks weren't about, worried about color and all that nonsense. Things that most folks gravitate towards. He is hated. He can't have the song out. That should let you know liberals are for everything that is evil. They don't like nothing that's good. If you listen to the liberal songs, they promote nothing but self-idolatry. They have nothing about worshiping God or nothing. Nothing. This is a satanic country. Cannot get around it. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you do share. I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Kristen Walker. Beautiful Kristen Walker says, "Where have you been? You don't write. You don't call. Sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Sorry. And I love you. Shout out to you. Shout out to the beautiful Kristen Walker. Let me go ahead and give you the customaries here. Kristen, tomorrow our good friend Jamal will be on the show. Make sure you come and hang out with us. And our good friend Anthony Allen will be on this Sunday, returning back to our Sunday Rumble. Oh, yeah. I'm excited. Ain't that crazy, ladies and gentlemen? They would rather see Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, and all the other stupid songs that are out there rather than this one that is bringing folks together. Ridiculous. Let's go ahead and move forward. Make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit that like button. Make sure you do share. I need your help. I certainly do. Next one. I want to go ahead and speak to you guys about the violent weekend that happened in Democrat-ran Chicago. Oh, yeah. Robberies, sexual assault, carjackings, everything under the sun. Come take a look at this. Here we go.
And then there's this video from Saturday night showing a large street fight that reportedly broke out outside a bar in the Wrigleyville neighborhood, not far from the Chicago Cubs stadium, with security and police trying to get things under control. And while murders and shootings are slightly down from last year's near historic highs, crime in nearly every other category is up. Robberies are up 16%, thefts 14%, and the number of carjackings is more than double what it was at this point a year ago. Right now, all eyes are on newly elected progressive Mayor Brandon Johnson, who promised to make the city safer by addressing the root causes of crime. And the impact of his progressive policies will be getting a lot of attention as we get closer to the Democratic National Convention being held here in Chicago just over a year from now.
Wow. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see What's going on in Chicago? Oh, yeah. What's more good? Take a look. Imagine how crazy this is, ladies and gentlemen. You see how those folks are fighting? Imagine how crazy this is just to see it. See it live. But this is America here for you. This is Democrat-ran Chicago. They're outside like hyenas fighting. Wildebeest. And let me stop it right here. If you live in a Democrat-ran city like Chicago, Minneapolis, New Orleans, or LA, let me tell you something. You are seeing crime going through the roof. That's what you're seeing. Crime year to date, robbery, up 16%, ladies and gentlemen. And man, it's crazy. Negroes are going wild. Battery, up 4%. Theft, up 14%. Right? The no cash bail system. Remember that. Sexual assault, up 5%. And carjackings. And I believe, ladies and gentlemen, the carjackings are organized crime. I believe it's done by organized crime. Up 126%. 126%. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy, ladies and gentlemen? 126%. The carjackings are being done by organized crime. They're getting these young guys under 18 and they're carjacking. When they're caught, nothing happens to the young guys. They get a slap on the wrist. I want folks to understand that. If you go and look at the suspects, the perpetrators of this crime, it's nothing but young guys, young boys, carjacking. Honda had a very big recall because of the little theft problem they had. It is something serious. Look at these numbers once more again. 16%. 4%. 14, 5, and 126. You can't get around it. But that's what happens when you're living in a city that is ran by Democrat officials. And what the Democrats will say, ladies and gentlemen, they'll blame it on COVID. They'll blame it on global warming. Oh, yeah, they'll blame it on global warming, ladies and gentlemen. They'll blame it on the Russians. Oh, yeah. They'll blame it on the cat, the dog, the paint on the wall before they start blaming it on themselves and the policies that they have. So I just wanted to show you guys that. Craziness. I want to go ahead here and give a shout out to Leanne and Jerome Glass. Shout out to you guys, and shout out to John Lennon. Says a gift. Shout out to you as well. Shout out to both of y'all. Absolutely. Shout out to both of y'all. Crime is up here in Minneapolis too, through the roof. Here in Duluth, they had a big story. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you do share. Make sure you do share. Now, moving forward, moving forward, I want to speak to you guys about Joe Biden. Oh, yeah, Joe Biden. He's being called the second most unpopular president. I want to go ahead and run this. When I come back, I want to speak about it because Nancy Pelosi speaks about it as well. Here we go. Let me go ahead and stop it right here. Here we go.
In something titled, "Why is Joe Biden so unpopular?" Andrew Romano writes that at this point in his term, Joe Biden is the second most unpopular president in modern U.S. history. Jimmy Carter was the first. Romano cites polling data from 538, where Biden's approval rating 910 days into his term stood at just 39%.
Let me run it again.
In something titled, "Why is Joe Biden so unpopular?" Andrew Romano writes that at this point in his term, Joe Biden is the second most unpopular president in modern U.S. history. Jimmy Carter was the first. Romano cites polling data from 538, where Biden's approval rating 910 days into his term stood at just 39%.
39%. 39%, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Biden is very unpopular. Very, very, very unpopular, and it's because Joe Biden is an unpopular guy. Joe Biden's official, they call it some Biden economy official. This is what they call it. It's some plain generic term. And he's saying that it's taken a while for people to warm up to Biden because of the damage that was done by Trump. This is what they're saying. Trump hasn't done anything to Biden except for show people his ineffectiveness when it comes to strategy and doing what is needed to get the country back on track. Oh, yeah. Nancy Pelosi came out today. Well, actually the other day. And she speaks about Joe Biden. I want you guys to take a look at what she's saying here. Here we go.
A Quinnipiac poll this week found nearly 6 in 10 Americans still disapprove of his handling of the economy. Why is that, and what does he have to do to turn that around?
Well, a lot of it's about messaging, of course. I'm so proud of this president. In the 2 years that we were in the majority working with him, he broke all records on the level with a Lyndon Johnson or a Franklin Roosevelt in terms of the caliber of legislation that he passed for the good of the people, lowering prescription drugs, again, cutting in half, as you indicate, cutting in half unemployment.
So why isn't the American public giving him credit
almost 14
for
million jobs? It has to be messaged. It is a legitimate question. I ask myself all the time, too.
Now, you see stuttering Nancy Pelosi. She's saying that, you know what, people haven't came over and gave Biden any credit because of the messaging. This is what Nancy Pelosi is saying. And let me tell you something, it ain't the messaging. It's what the heck is going on in the country. It's the policies. These folks, ladies and gentlemen, they're living in a different land. They're living in a different realm. The normal individual, the normal American sees Joe Biden's policies as being destructive. That all you care about is the LGBTQ folks. They see ya try to help Ukraine secure their border while our border is all shot to hell. The normal individual sees what the heck is going on in Washington and doesn't like it. That's why his approval level is so low. So they can run around and run that scheme of a lie all they want, ladies and gentlemen. But they're not coming to the truth, and it's because, ladies and gentlemen, Democrats love to run from the truth like their mama. The truth is too hard for them to take. That, hey, your policies and ideas don't work. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's the real problem here. When we get down to the brass tacks of it, right? When we get down to the brass tacks of the deal, the policies just don't work well. You care about the wrong things, right? You're trying to make it illegal and lock folks up for misgendering a person. This is what, liberals are worried about. They're worried about the wrong things in this country. And that's why it's going to hell in a handbasket very quickly. People like Nancy Pelosi, she should be out of office, but yet she's still there, sucking up a seat and sucking up the life out of Congress. Let me tell you. Can't get around that. Joe Biden has a very, very bad approval rating because of his policies and what the administration chooses to focus on. Everything they touch goes to hell. Everything they touch. You can't even make this stuff up. You cannot. So when you hear a Democrat complaining, saying that, hey, Joe Biden's a really good president. I mean, I don't know why everybody's mad at him. You should know that that person who is talking is a fool. They don't know life. They truly don't. Because if they did, they would know exactly why Joe Biden sucks. The reason why, things are going bad in this country. Can't even make this stuff up. You just can't. Let's go ahead and move forward. Make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit that like button. Make sure you share. Make sure you do. Make sure you share. I want to go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and speak to you guys about the immigration problem we are having here in our country. The illegal migrants that are coming in, we cannot support them. We cannot at all, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bad deal. Politicians know this, but except they're scared. Right now, the liberal left, ladies and gentlemen, they're running another scam. And they're using the immigrants. They're saying that the immigrants, the migrants at the border are being treated inhumanely. Oh, yes. And they're making a big issue about it, a big stink about it. I want to go ahead and run this when it comes back. I want to speak about it. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you do share. We need your help. Here we go.
The Texas Department of Public Safety is now disputing allegations that troopers were ordered to mistreat migrants crossing the southern border. This comes after a trooper says he was told to physically push back migrants into the Rio Grande. An official now tells ABC News that trooper was mistaken and that troopers were only ordered to verbally instruct migrants to go back. But the reports of mistreatment go further than that.
Allegations of inhumane treatment of migrants, including small children, along the U.S.-Mexico border now under investigation. In an email sent by a Texas state trooper to a superior obtained by ABC News, he says it was the policy to deny migrants water and were even told to push children, including ones that were nursing, back into the Rio Grande River. The trooper adding when he and others contacted command expressing concerns about the migrants being exhausted, even drowning, they were again given the order to tell them to go to Mexico. The Inspector General for the Texas Department of Public Safety is now launching a probe. DPS says the troopers are the ones who perform rescues while trying to stop migrants from placing themselves in harm's way. The trooper also provided pictures, he says, are of the migrants suffering injuries from newly installed razor wire, even describing a pregnant woman who got stuck in the wire and suffered a miscarriage.
When you're looking at the wire, when you're looking at these floating devices, to be frank with you, that is a death trap.
The Mexican government raising concern, saying they requested the U.S. government remove the barrels and razor wire from the riverbed. The State Department blaming Texas, saying the barriers were deployed without consulting the federal government. Texas Governor Greg Abbott's office saying Texas is deploying every tool and strategy to deter and repel illegal crossings between ports of entry.
And today, the Texas National Guard tells ABC News they work alongside Texas law enforcement, but they have no orders or directives instructing service members to push migrants back into the river or deny them drinking water.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC 7 Chicago.
Go ahead and stop it right here. Do you guys see this? Now you're starting to see the new scam. Try to make it seem as, we're doing a bad job here. The officials in Texas have every right to install whatever they want to repel the force that is coming. Only in this country you're worried about criminals breaking the law. You're worried about criminals hurting themselves while breaking the law, I should say. Only in this country. I wonder if you go to Mexico, right, and you cross the border in Mexico, and you hurt your knee, right? I tripped over a rock when I was crossing in Mexico. I'm wondering, will the Mexican officials care that my knee hurts? Or I cut myself on one of their razor barbed wire when I was going through the fence. I'm wondering, will they care? I'm wondering, will most countries care if I'm trying to get in illegally and I hurt myself? I'm wondering if they would care. Do you guys think they would care? No, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care at all. But in this country, boy, an illegal immigrant hurts themselves chewing bubble gum crossing the border. Let me tell ya. We make sure we call the ambulance for them. We are once more again focusing on the wrong things. If they're hurting themselves trying to cross the border, if it's making it hard for them to cross the border because the barbed wire is tearing their ass up, let me tell you something, that's what needs to happen. The more people that tear their ass up on the barbed wire, the faster the word gets back to Mexico that, hey, the Americans ain't playing. They ain't playing. Right? But no, you know what the word is going back? Hey, if you hurt yourself, they going to definitely let you in, give you some money, and make sure you get good medical care. That's not what we want as a message going back to Mexico, ladies and gentlemen. I want the message, hey, you know, going through the border is treacherous. They got dogs. They got machine gun turrets. They got laser beams. Yeah, they chopping folks up. I've seen a person get chopped in half in front of me. That's the type of stuff that I want the Mexicans to go back, the immigrants to go back and tell each other. If I was the president, that's the type of border I'd have. I'd be having dogs. Them dogs be tearing people's asses up, let me tell ya. Biting people the heck up, let me tell ya. And no, I wouldn't care if you got hurt. If your kid doesn't have any food crossing the border, I don't care. I'm that evil. Yeah, I don't care. How come you didn't think about it before crossing? In this country, ladies and gentlemen, because of the weak nature we have allowed a whole bunch of folks who should not be here. That's why it's very important to hold a lot of these politicians' feet to the fire, especially the Republicans. The ones that, you know, quote unquote, claim that they're Republican. We need to hold their feet to the fire. Because it's absolutely nonsense. Absolutely nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. You're talking about inhumane conditions because people are coming here and they're scratching themselves on the wire because they ain't getting good medical care. This is outrageous. Let's go ahead and move forward. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you share. And one more thing. The only reason why they're doing this too is to push propaganda on their side to make it more easier to pass legislation for these people to come in. Liberals are very evil folks. Very, very evil. Let's go ahead and move forward. Next one up, I want to speak to you guys about Christie. Burger eating Christie. He says Donald Trump is a con artist. I kid you not. Christie has taken off his belt. Absolutely. Belt is off. He's ready to fight. Let me go ahead and run this. When I come back, I want to speak about it. Burger eating Christie says Donald Trump is a con artist. Take a look.
Donald Trump continuing to campaign, raising money for his 2024 presidential bid off of his possible third indictment. But according to a Washington Post review of FEC reports, a lot of the money that Trump has been raising for his campaign is actually going to his legal bills. And Trump opponent Christie tweeting, I quote him, grifting is a Trump family tradition, and the latest scam is his campaign. This self-proclaimed billionaire is swindling 50% of his campaign donations to pay for his personal legal fees. We don't need a con artist. We need a leader who can beat Biden. And joining me now is 2024 GOP presidential candidate and, of course, the former governor of New Jersey, Christie. And I also should say, Governor, in the spirit of full transparency, I will note you are my husband's second cousin for anyone interested in our family trees. So let me start off by asking here, off of what you tweeted. Do you believe that Trump supporters would not give money to his campaign if they knew he was using it for his legal fees? Or do you think maybe they're well aware and they're happy with it? They want him to use his money to fight his legal battles.
Well, I don't think they're well aware, Aaron, because he's lied to them, as typical for Donald Trump. First, he said 1% of the money they gave would go towards his legal fees. I think most people would say, okay, that's fine. Then he said 10% of the money is going towards his legal fees. Well, here's my problem when it gets to 50% of the money. You really need this billionaire, a guy who says, according to a recent New York Times story, that he's made $1 billion since he left the White House. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he says. You really need to have people who are donating $10, $20, $50 to your campaign, pay for your high-priced lawyers for indictments that you all brought on yourself by paying off a porn star, by holding back classified documents despite the fact that they've been asked for voluntarily for 18 months. I mean, this is ridiculous, and he is using these people in a way that I don't think that they completely know about. And, you know, people set up a legal defense fund, Donald, and if people wanted to give to that, they will. But people are giving to him, Aaron, because they think it's going to help him get reelected president when all he's doing is grifting off these people. He is a con artist who is conning them out of their money, pretending he wants to be their president. Well, with what he wants is a free ride for the legal defense he's getting for the criminal charges he personally faces.
Now, we found out on one of these cases, you mentioned the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case, Governor, and Eileen Cannon, the judge there, ruled today that that case will begin on May 20th. Now, May 20th, by then, most of the GOP primaries will be over. By the way, in 2016, Trump had clinched the GOP nomination by May. So May is late in the election cycle. What do you think about the timing?
Well, look, I can't make a judgment on, you know, what the judge is seeing, what's going to take time to be able to do this case the right way. As you know, Aaron, I was a U.S. attorney for 7 years, a federal prosecutor, and, you know, classified documents cases will take a long time to get ready. So I'm not going to argue with what the judge did. But who cares? We don't need, as Republicans, to know necessarily what even the result is. What we know is if Donald Trump winds up clinching the nomination by May of 2024, then our candidate for president in our party will be sitting in a courtroom in Florida for weeks, being accused of crimes that could expose him to 30 years in prison. I mean, do you really think that's the person who's going to beat Joe Biden? Republicans need to wake up to the fact that Donald Trump's in this for himself. He always has been. And now with this trial date, the right thing to do would be to step aside. He won't do that. So you know what, Aaron? I'm going to push him aside.
I spoke to the former Republican Congressman Fred Upton the other day. You know him. He told us he's contributed to your campaign.
I do.
But then, Governor, he went on to tell me this.
Trump is using this to raise more money. He's stronger than ever before. He's got all the wind out of the balloon from any of the other dozen or so candidates that are out there. They can't get a breakthrough. And it's really sort of over in terms of his winning the Republican nomination.
He says it's over. What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I appreciate Fred donating to my campaign even after he says it's over. That's really very nice of him. But what I would tell you is I think Fred respectfully is wrong. Aaron, we've been in this race for 6 weeks. We have gone from 0 to 10% in New Hampshire, a half a point behind Ron DeSantis. We're in third place, DeSantis in second. We have just got going here in telling the truth to the American people. And the American people need to hear the truth, that Donald Trump is not fit to be president of the United States or fit to be the nominee of the Republican Party, and he's done it to himself. And he's let us down. He didn't repeal and replace Obamacare. He built 52 miles of wall in 4 years. Aaron, He said he was going to build the whole wall. Mexico was going to pay for it. We don't have our first peso, and if he goes at that pace in the next term, he'll need 110 years as president to build the whole wall.
You mentioned Ron DeSantis when you were comparing your numbers in New Hampshire. Today, he says he's pushing for legal action against Bud Light's parent company. Obviously, this is in the wake of the conservative backlash to Bud Light using a transgender influencer right in their act.
Let me stop it right here. Let me stop it right here. Christie, ladies and gentlemen. Christie, ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Man, Christie. Cheeseburger eating Christie. He sound like he's a little jelly. Don't he, ladies and gentlemen? He sounds like he's a little jelly. He's a little jealous. Christie wishes he was Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call a paid hack. Oh, yeah, this is a paid hack. This is somebody who is paid by the establishment to go after Donald Trump. The establishment wants Donald Trump gone. And they're figuring, hey, why don't we just have our establishment Republicans go after him? Let's just take him out. Christie, Ron DeSantis, some of these other guys here. What they're going to try to do, ladies and gentlemen, is make Donald Trump look edgy, right? Hey, you know, Donald Trump, he's a little bit of a too much of a risk. You know, Republicans, we need to look ourselves in the mirror and do the right thing. Pick somebody who doesn't have a background like this. Donald Trump cannot be our leader. This is what the message that he's trying to push. This is the message. And let me tell you something, it's a losing message. Christie is a paid hack. He's trying to say that Donald Trump is using some of his, donations for his legal funds. Well, let me let this idiot know something. Most people who give to Donald Trump, the small American, they know that Donald Trump will be using it probably for his legal defense fund. Yes. And if you ask most folks who are giving to Donald Trump if they care, they don't care. Whatever will help make Donald Trump viable, make it easy for him to win, that's what they want. The people who are giving to Donald Trump already know that he has legal problems. They're not dumb. They know that he has these type of issues. And they know that he's going to have to pull some funds from somewhere to deal with the animals that are out there. So it's not a bothersome for the donors. It's a bothersome for people like Christie. Because you're thinking that, hey, well, Donald Trump should be using all his money and he should be bankrupt. And they're mad that Donald Trump has the backing of the people and that Donald Trump most likely will get himself out of this jam. People like Christie don't like that. Trying to make it as hard as heck for Donald Trump to win. And let me tell you something. he's trying. Most folks do not care if he uses the money for his defense fund, because gosh darn it, he needs it. This is something that the establishment doesn't get. The people that support Donald Trump know how important it is for him to be in the race, how important it is for him to win. Our country's soul relies on it. So when Christie and the rest of these idiots are bringing this up, they're not going to gain very much traction. They're not at all. Not at all. So I wanted you guys to see this. The knives are out for Donald Trump. It's out. They want him gone. And they will do whatever it takes. And you're going to see Republicans coming out the woodworks. People like Christie. Attacking Trump. Making weak and baseless claims. Calling him a grifter. No, you're a grifter, sir. Ain't that crazy? But this is the type of political system we're in right now, ladies and gentlemen. We have a whole bunch of folks on the right who align themselves with folks on the left. And we got folks who really want to save this country, who are supporting Donald Trump. And it's getting easier and easier to see this. So I'm quite happy that Donald Trump is, doing what he needs to do. And I'm quite happy that folks like Christie are coming out. Because it's easier to see your enemy when they come out like this. And please believe, Christie, he's an enemy. He certainly is. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for tonight. I want to thank everybody and their mamas for coming out, hanging out with us here. We will be on tomorrow at 9 p.m. Central with our good friend, I was about to say Anthony Allen, our good friend, Minda Jamal, for our Double J's Tuesdays. Double Barrel J Tuesdays. So come in, hang out with us. We had a fantastic time last week. We shall have another one. We'll speak about Christie. We'll speak about Mike Pence. Oh, yeah. You know Pence is running for president, right? Yeah. And we're going to speak about some more folks. Absolutely. We shall have a very, very good old time, so come hang out with us. I want to thank everybody who donated. Really helps us. Really does. Every little thing counts. So I want to thank everybody who donated, everybody who hit that like button, and everybody who shared, especially during this time here. So that's what it is. You guys take care. Have a very, very good night. And I'll catch you guys here tomorrow with another edition of Conservative Nation. Guys, take care.